Hello everyone and welcome back to Table Talk with Kevin. And today we're doing an unboxing for the Orc faction from the Warhammer 40k universe, the Squighog Boyz. Now after the unboxing, I'll be taking a look at the Orc Codex to take a look at their data sheets, and then after that, I'll be doing a quick assembly just to show you how they look like. Now if you haven't subscribed to the channel, click subscribe, and if you think this video was helpful to you, hit the like button as well. Right, so let's dive in. So on the box itself, something to take note is that there are a total of 5 minis. So we can see your 3 Squighog Boyz, and your Not Masher Squig, and your Bomb Squig. Let's take a look behind. Nothing much other than your Knock can have different variants for them. Alright, so let's take a look inside. So naturally you have your manual, your decals, right, so knowing that we got 5 minis, right, so we can definitely tell that the bigger one is, this bigger base is meant for your Not Masher Squig, and the rest of them are for your Squighog Boyz. And for your sprue, we can definitely find your 3 Squighog Boyz, and naturally the biggest squig over here are for your Not Masher Squig. So something I like to point out is that other than the squig and the orc that's riding it, so for example right here you have your squigs here, the orc himself, you do also have a little grot right over here that's piggybacking, or should you say squig backing, I guess. Well, what I'm trying to say is that this is basically a separate piece. So when I'm thinking of assembling them, you might need to consider that you'll be assembling one just a squig, the orc, and followed by the Gretchen himself. And most likely when you start painting them, you'll be 3 separate pieces. Yep. And actually I missed out over here as well. So there's actually the Bomb Squig. If you notice also on the picture itself, you can see that it's actually a squig on a single tire right here with the Gretchen riding it. So I believe this is the one right here. Looks fairly easy to assemble. So next up we'll be discussing the data sheet, and after that I'll be assembling them just to let you know how they look like. Right, so here's the data sheet for the Squighog Boyz. I hope y'all can see it. So now when you check out the datasheet, you realize that the Not Masher Squig is actually a separate unit from the Squighog Boyz. So one unit can have a 3 to 6, maximum 6 models of the Squighog Boyz. They are fast attack. Those not stated here is actually a 25 points per model, which if you compare with other fast attacks, they are the same point cost as a war bike. As we know that there's actually a squig, an orc, and a Gretchen or a grot that will actually produce you several types of weapon profiles. You have the Surrogate's weapon and a sticker for shooting. Definitely one from the grot and one from the orc himself. And also for the melee profile, you can definitely use the Surrogate's weapon or the sticker as well. Personally, I think that the Surrogate's weapon at a strength 3 but with an additional attack is not something that I usually tend to choose. I tend to choose the sticker. One is because it's a +1 to strength, bringing you up to 6. And depending if you're gonna WoW or if you take Goths, it will increase even more. What's more is that it also has a -2 AP and even a higher damage output of 2. But then again, I think it really depends on the situation. Lastly, do remember also that your squig is able to also do some melee attacks, so using the Squighog Jaws. And from what I remember, there'll be quite a few combos in a way that you can use it with other units or stratagems. In terms of abilities, there isn't much other than the fact that you can actually bring a Bomb Squig for an additional 5 points upgrade. Basically, when you shoot or when you're performing Overwatch, you can actually release this Bomb Squig, and then after you're able to potentially deal mortal wounds. But when you use one, essentially you use up one Bomb Squig. As a Squighog Boy, he has access to the Beast Naga ability, which basically gives you a +1 to hit for range or melee attacks against vehicles or monsters, and has an innate 6+ invul save, which is nice. You can do Here We Go, basically reroll charges, mod rule, and then the Wah. What I feel is important to note is that he's actually core, so he benefits a lot from the Wah itself. A very good comparison are the bikers because of his same point cost, while his movement is about 4 inches lesser than a wall biker, but it has a 6 toughness, right? And I think that's really tough, where you'll be facing a lot of weapons which are strength 5, it'll be much more difficult to wound you. I think something which I also forgot to point out is that the fact that its weapons are actually assault. So why this is actually important is that when you're going to Wah, when you plan to advance and charge, you have a potential to basically hit twice. Even though you're going to be +1 to hit, and hitting on 6s, well, if you're hitting a vehicle or monster, you'll be back down to 5 again. But basically, again, you have a potential to basically damage and soften up your target before you charge right in. Now, you know what? You are actually able to potentially damage 3 times if your bomb squig, if you actually shoot and after you release your bomb squig and you're able to do some more mortal wounds. Not sure you're able to kill many things with the mortal wounds, but again, you plan to soften them up before you actually come into melee. Now for your knob on Smasher Squig, basically it's almost the same stats as your Squighog Boyz, naturally with more wounds and 1 additional attack. Weapons wise, it only has a slugger. I'll come to the reason why he's more of a melee character. Okay, so now if you take a look at this melee weapon profile, it has a big chopper and having 4 attacks or potentially 5 with a Wah. Next up is your Smasher Squig Jaws at strength 6, also at 2 damage. Each time the barrel fires, it makes 2 additional attacks with this weapon. So in a sense, in total, you will be potentially doing 6 attacks, 4 with your regular chopper and 2 with the Squig Jaws, and additional 1 more because of the Wah. So there's quite a lot of attacks. For its abilities, naturally as a Beast Naga model, it actually has the Beast Naga ability to be a +1 to range and melee weapons against vehicles and monsters with a 6+ invul save. It also has an ability which is called Squig Boss. So its ability Squig Boss basically means that you will not have to take a fast attack slot just to include him, but you can actually add him in a no organization slot, which is really helpful because I think sometimes fast attacks, you may want to include other types of vehicles, and I think they are kind of precious in terms of the slots. So that's really helpful. But I think the main thing that we are all looking forward to is his other ability called Smash Hit. Each time this model finishes a charge, move, or heroic intervention, select 1 enemy unit within engagement range, and this model, you can roll 5d6, and for each result of a 4+, the enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. That is really epic in terms of dishing out mortal wounds. I feel that the way to play around with this is that you will be able to play this particular stratagem called Unstoppable Momentum for only 1 CP, which is rare considering that a lot of Orc stratagems tend to be 2 CPs actually. So what it does is basically this. Use this stratagem in your charge phase after a Knob or Smasher Squig from your army finishes a charge move, and if there are no enemy models within engagement range, you can select to declare a charge again. So this is what I mean, is that you're able to smash, deal mortal wounds, clear out a particular character or unit, so it just doesn't end there. You can just continue on to just wreak havoc. It also means that after you deal mortal wounds, and if you play this Unstoppable Momentum, you can actually use Smash Hit again to deal more mortal wounds onto the next unit that you're charging into. Alright, so how to make best of your Squighog Boyz? Well, definitely the Orc clan that you can definitely use, at least a few of them is, one is definitely Goths, because, well, you are basically a very melee-centric unit. You deal a lot of melee attacks both from your own weapon as well as your squigs. So that's basically scoring a lot of attacks, and there's a higher chance for you to actually deal a lot more attacks because of its exploding sixes. And don't forget, whenever you make a charge, whenever you HI, you're able to actually add 1 more strength, making your melee attack that much stronger. If you have the CP to spend, you can actually use Unbridled Carnage. Basically allows you, it's not just exploring sixes for that particular golf core or character unit. You can have exploring 5 and 6s basically. I think the a very obvious clan that you can actually use is always the Snake Bites. Why so is because one of his ability that says that each time a Squighog model with his culture makes a melee attack, or when it does a HI, you can actually add 1 to the attack's win roll. It's actually easier for you to win your opponent. On top of that, all your Snake Bites actually has a mini transhuman. If the incoming attack is a strength 7 or lower, okay, your opponent actually has to win you on force. Another outclan that you might consider are the Death Skulls. Why is because that for every unit that's selected to shoot or fight, you can actually reroll 1 hit roll or 1 wound roll, which is always good. And I think one of the more important ones is that whenever you receive a mortal wound, you actually have basically a 5-up feel no pain. Where I feel that in this current meta, there will be a lot of mortal wounds incoming, especially like from Tyranids. Death Skulls would actually be a very good choice. Hopefully you'll be able to guard against that. Hey guys, I'm back after assembling all the Squighog Boyz, and I do think that it's a lot easier if you assemble them individually. Like you can assemble them for the Orcs and the Gretchen one by one. I do think that it's a lot better that you don't assemble them and glue them immediately. So like so, just to give you an example, you can actually mount them on the top like that. There's this little notch over here that the Orc is able to grab onto the Squig. Then lastly, also you can this one you have to actually glue it down. There's actually this little I guess handle that the Gretchen is holding onto the Orc right over here. You can actually glue it there, and after glue his feet down onto the Squig. So basically that's how the overall So that's basically how the overall model is gonna look like. Something like this. Right? But I do think it's very hard to paint. So I do recommend that you have to paint them individually. So yeah. Right, so aside from the Squighog Boyz, you also have the knob itself. I did mount it onto the base right here because I thought there'll be a lot of access to the belly area if I do plan to paint it. But I'm still painting them separately, the Squig and the knob separately. So basically, well, something like that. Don't forget that you also have a bomb Squig for you to assemble and also paint as well. Well guys, that's it, and thank you all for watching. I really hope that you like this unboxing, this datasheet review, and a quick assembly video. If you think this video was helpful, do remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. Thank you all, and I'll see you next time.